Did you see the Project Veritas release?
I did not.
Project Veritas just put out a video of this guy who is, I guess, a Democratic operative saying they want to get violent. They want to pull out the slicey boys, he called them. Slicey boys. You know what the slicey boys are? When you're dealing with politicians you don't like, you bring out a slicey boy?
Guillotines.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Project Veritas, this guy saying it. I'm not going to pretend like this guy's the most prominent Democrat in the world, but you got Democrats saying this is our plan. He's what?
He's not. I have a kind of salient thought about this. So what was interesting to me about this most recent Project Veritas release was that this happened in Colorado, which is where I'm from, and it happened in Weld County, Colorado. So that's not interesting to most people I know, but I spent a year there. That's a farming county. There's nothing there. This isn't Fort Collins. This isn't Boulder. This isn't Denver. This is way out in the middle of nowhere. There are cows. There are oil rigs. There's nothing exciting or interesting. This isn't cosmopolitan. And to hear this coming from somewhere like Weld County, to me, is frankly terrifying.
Why?
Because it's taking root there.
Oh, and
that troubles me.
In middle of nowhere country.
Yes, and a bunch in farmland. This is literally like cornfields and cows and
Right.
stuff.
I'll tell you what this guy was saying. He was saying that basically, if Joe Biden gets elected, they'll still riot. If Joe Biden gets elected and he won't sign the progressive policies, he said we won't let him leave his house.
I believe it.
The question that we keep hearing is
They hate Joe Biden.
Of course. But the question is, under which president will we have bad riots?
All of the above.
All of the above. But what's the difference between the two?
The media will go one way or the other.
Well, no, the big difference between the presidents.
Oh.
Under both presidents, we're going to have riots, right?
Yes.
So what's the difference between a Trump presidency and a Biden presidency in that regard?
Trump might actually put some of them in jail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Might actually put some of them in jail. Like,
They did go get that guy in Portland. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Rhino?
The shooter.
Rhino.
Yeah.
Rhino.
I mean, they sent the feds after him.
Yeah. And what did Trump call it? Retribution or something?
We got.
So.
That's brutal. That's too much. I don't like that.
Well, the guy pulled out a machine gun.
Right. Of course. Well, so I guess the official story is that he was armed, and he was armed because there's a bunch of other photos with him being armed. He was arrested before, I guess, on gun charges.
The report I read said that he got off 50 rounds or more before they started firing on him.
Wow.
Man, I don't know. So I read a report that said one witness claimed that wasn't true.
Oh.
But I'll put it this way, man.
He did.
No. Look, if you get a guy who's got a gun charge, then he comes out later and stalks a Trump supporter and kills him, and then I hear from the cops that he had a gun, I'll be like, I mean, the dude had a tendency to have a gun. You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
I'm not going to doubt him on that regard.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
The riots are coming no matter what. I have a thought about the Supreme Court packing. Same sort of similar theme here. Is maybe Biden's really had been avoiding it because he doesn't want to, and he knows that the left really, really wants him to. Right? That's why he's
you heard
avoiding.
What he said.
Not like in the last day or two.
He said he's not a fan of court packing.
Yeah. I spent the day in the horse country today trying to get my mind out of the news, but
dude, I go, but I talk to regular people all the time, and they tell me stuff, and I'm just like, wow, I heard some really crazy stories from the skateboarding community, and this is one of the craziest things to me because, so when I hear let me tell you a secret about skateboarders, they're nihilists. They don't care about your politics. They don't care about any of this stuff. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go skate. They're very libertarian, very anti-authoritarian, and very nihilistic. If they can live in 10 people crammed in a one bedroom, paying $100 a month just to get by, and they can skate every day, they're happy.
Sort of like what you got going on here.
Well, this is a crazy
this is a weird
commune farm.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing now all these skateboarders voting for Trump. I had some amateur skateboarder. Amateur usually implies like they've got some notoriety. Some hitting me up being like, amazing job, dude, you're killing it, this is amazing. And I'm like, what? Like, this dude should not be like a politically active person. It's kind of getting crazy the amount of times I come across people who are apolitical, who, like, I've been skating my whole life, man. Whenever you don't talk politics with skateboarders, they don't care. Sometimes they might be like left leaning, but they're normies.
Do a kickflip.
That's the extent to which they have like public videos, like a public video series called Do a Kickflip, because it's just like there's nothing going on. It's like the 800th video I've seen called Do a Kickflip. Yeah. And now I got these dudes posting. There's some crazy stories. I don't know how much I can reveal because it might, a lot of these people are scared of getting canceled. But I'll tell you this, man. Some top musicians, Hollywood celebrities, and skateboarders have hit me up in the past several months telling me they're Trump train 2020. Even when I was saying like, So this is like before Trump put out a second agenda, before I was like, okay, I'm going to vote for the guy. I had people saying like, dude, you're wrong, man. Trust me. And I'm like, this is a Hollywood celebrity from like TV shows on Netflix and Amazon telling me I got to vote for Trump. And I'm like, I thought Hollywood was far left. This is crazy to me.
So I have an idea on this. It has become completely obvious that the dissidents in America are Trump supporters. The punks are Trump supporters.
Yeah, man.
The people that
Johnny Rotten, dude.
The people that do DIY media production, audio, Trump supporters. We're out there. This is something that I did when I was a kid. We did raves back then in the 90s, right? We broke into warehouses and like DJ'd and played crazy music and did a bunch of drugs. And I was a rebel. And I've always been a rebel. And I'm seeing this now. More people seeing the fact that Biden, Antifa, BLM, it's the establishment. You can't, there's no denying the fact that they are the establishment now with the corporations, the names on the streets, the backing of the government, the NBA, all of this. They are now the establishment. And good branding for Trump is to scoop up those disaffected people and be like, you're a punk. We're punks. We are insurgents,
dude,
within the United States. And Trump is an insurgent.
Johnny Rotten.
Johnny Rotten.
You saw Johnny Rotten, right?
I did. It was sad to see him in such a state
Wow.
physically. He's
like,
really gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, with MAGA full on, because he sees it, and anybody who is involved in punk politics sees it.
Let me tell you something. Okay, you guys, you know Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Sex Pistols, OG
Of
punk,
course.
like Johnny Rotten.
Yep.
He was the lead singer, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
And this guy came out. He was seen wearing a MAGA shirt, and then people asked him like, "You voting for Trump?" And he's like, "Of course." And he voted for Clinton in 2016.
Wow.
He said he voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, Obama. Now he's voting Trump, and he said it's because Biden's not capable of being the president, and the economy is like you can't ignore it. And I'm like, that's an extremely rational and normal point to be made.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Ricky Gervais brought it up in one of his live streams, and it was really funny. He was like, "Oh, Johnny Rotten, like, why would Johnny Rotten wear a MAGA shirt? Apparently you can't do that." Or he said MAGA hat. He's like, "Well, unless you're an aging punk trying to agitate people." And I laughed at that too, because at least Ricky's got a fun attitude about it, but I think Ricky's wrong. You look, they look at Johnny Rotten, the people who are, like Ricky Gervais, who are, having a good time and still willing to have a laugh, and he thinks Johnny Rotten's just trying to make everybody angry. Then you listen to Johnny Rotten, he's like, well, the economy was really good under, Donald Trump, and I have to recognize that. And, Joe Biden just doesn't seem to have it. I'm like, that's like a normal point to be made.
Right.
That's not agitating anybody.
Exactly.
But someone posted a photo of Sid Vicious wearing a swastika t-shirt. And so he was the original singer.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think these people know what punk is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, when I grew up with punk, and I look, I'm not going to pretend to know what punk is, because apparently there's so many different punks, and everyone thinks punk
like
is this or punk.
libertarianism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Lousy punks, they ruined punk.
Exactly.
But like what I was told when I was growing up, when I was listening to punk music and I was skating, was that it was basically anti-establishment, anti-authoritarian. The reason that like these guys, the reason they would dye their hair, shave their like the sides of their head, make their hair look weird, and wear weird clothes, was to be as offensive and shocking as possible to the squares, to the normies. So yeah, Sid Vicious would wear a swastika t-shirt because he's like, he wanted you to get angry, and he wanted to challenge what you would be comfortable in. He wanted to shock you to your core. That's not what punk is today. It's like been perfectly co-opted. There's this really funny cartoon of this woman wearing like a jean vest, and she's got like a purple mohawk or something, and she's like, "You're not punk unless you support Black Lives Matter." And I'm like, and then there's another funny one where it's like, you're not, it was a mockery of it. You're not punk unless your opinions align with every major multinational billion-dollar
punk.
corporation.
Exactly.
Right? Real punk it'll get banned. That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
Because like I would be swearing and wearing a shirt with the koala giving the finger right now if I could.
You probably can do that. Yeah.
I might wear the koala shirt someday.
Do it.
I mean, dude, one day that's going to be offensive what you're wearing, and then they're going to go back in time and delete the
Once
video.
the Borg take over, then they'll see this
They're
video.
gonna rewrite the Prime Directive.
Elon Musk is going to Neuralink everybody. Then we're going to start talking about how the Borg was right in Star Trek, and then they're going to ban your shirt.
I think punk is real. It's just so dissuaded by social media. Because
I had
it lives on currently in social media. This is the punk spirit. This is the punk spirit right now. DIY. Challenge the facts. Challenge the establishment. Create your own narrative. Build your own space. Have your own community. F you. I'm not going to listen to you. Remember, oh my God, I'm just having flashbacks. Rage Against the Machine. It's making me so sad because thinking about them, they are now the Machine, and I
Rage,
still
no. It's Rage on behalf of the Machine.
right. Oh, there you go.
That's what it is.
And I still listen to the one song over and over on my workout list. You know, F you, I won't do what you tell me. F you,
Yeah.
I won't do what you
Sure
tell
will.
me. F you, I won't do what you tell me. I mean, that's a
the-
vibe, man.
You know what the American spirit?
It's a mood.
A lot of it is.
It's a mood. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's the same
man.
mood.
You tell me to do something, I do the opposite.
Yeah.
You get in my face, you demand I raise my fist, I'll flick you off.
Yep.
And that's
I'll
'cause
do the
there must
opposite.
be an insidious reason for you being the authoritarian. That
Right, what
comes
are you
from
doing?
that natural distrust for authority. Because
You know-
so
And
much
that's Trump, dude. That's why Trump says the crazy things that he does. That's why he says, I just punched the guy.
And that's why he said stand back and stand by and not stand down, is because he
Are
doesn't
you
like
saying-
people telling him what to do.
Are you saying Donald Trump is punk rock?
Definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
This guy wearing a suit,
Yes.
a businessman,
Yes.
punk rock.
He's
Okay.
punk rock, 100%.
And I
To,
think-
to be
I
to be
think-
fair, we used to wear suits
Yeah,
like
dress
skate-
pants, suits, long sleeve
We
button
used
up
to,
shirts
we used to,
with collars.
We used to go skate and we would put on suits.
And it's
Like,
not-
no, for real.
It's
Like,
not the clothing.
We would skate wearing. We would get like thrift store suits, and we would go skate with a tie and a suit.
Sounds like Beastie Boys
because-
Sabotage era.
But you know what it was like when my friends were doing it, and when I was doing it. It was basically like skateboarding was becoming mainstream and popular, and
Damn,
so
Tony.
to be the antithesis of this was to wear a suit now.
Nice.
Because it's like MTV had a show and the dudes are wearing the same kind of clothes, and now they started marketing. You know, they started making the clothes that were like pre-ripped or pre-frayed or whatever, and so it was like my jeans were ruined because I was skating and was scraping my falling down. Then they started selling pre-ruined jeans.
Right.
We went to the thrift store, put on suits.
Right.
They started wearing.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
I would love to see clips of that. You
I
should
don't-
recreate it. That'd be amazing.
I mean, that was a trend back in like
So funny.
the early 2000s with skateboarders wearing suits because it was like.
So here's the thing about punk and subcultures in general. Subcultures in general have a life cycle to them. They start off in the dark corners, then they get a little bit more popular, and then eventually the mainstream co-ops them, right? And then it takes away all of their bite, okay? And so what we're seeing now with social media and technology is there's no way to co-opt it. You're not going to be co-opted, Tim. You're not going to just get swallowed up. Your voice isn't going to get just put into the din with the rest of the establishment. Social media provides a place for dissidents to actually have a life cycle where they don't get co-opted by the mainstream. I firmly believe, and I was talking about this with a guy who's an ethnomusicologist, as a matter of fact, who studies dissident music scenes, that there isn't one right now in the United States. There isn't a dissident music scene. And that energy didn't go away. It lives on right now,
Dude.
MAGA social media.
Have you heard what like it's like the guy who started Bad Religion, I think. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was talking about like Black Lives Matter and the establishment and being punk. But they wrote a song. I think this was Bad Religion who wrote this. It was an alt-right like recruitment song.
Yeah, it was Bad Religion.
They wrote a song and it was called "The Kids Are Alt-Right" or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And when the song came out, I was hearing from these lefties that it's a punk song that's supposed to be against the alt-right, but the song's pro alt-right. Like the lyrics are like, everybody needs somebody, come join the party. And I'm like, this is not critical in any capacity. They're not insulting them. They're literally telling people it's fun, come hang out. Like, that's weird.
Because
I don't know
Greg
about
teaches
that.
at Berkeley.
Super weird.
I don't know about that. I know that the dissident energy that I grew up with, that I fostered and channeled as a teen, is living on today. I used to have a studio in my basement making music and an old Mac doing zines and writing like little articles to hand out at parties and whatever. What am I doing today? I got a studio in my basement. I'm writing online. I'm doing Twitters and blogs.
Dude.
And like it's the same vibe, same mood. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Same
was
mood.
I was reading something interesting where it was like this teacher asked his students how many of them thought that if they were alive during slavery that they would have opposed slavery. He was like, imagine it's the era of slavery. Slavery is alive right now. How many of you would oppose it? They all raised their hand. And he says, okay, now each and every one of you, I want you to name something you've done that has gone against the establishment, has been extremely unpopular, would get you fired from your job, kicked out of school, or grounded for life. And none of them had nothing to say. And he said, during that era, slavery was the establishment acceptable norm, and those that opposed it were the fringe, anti-establishment weirdos, and the people freeing the slaves were criminals. And the slaves that were like, they were sending out people to catch them. He's like, each and every one of you following the establishment, listening to your popular music, you are doing exactly the opposite of what you think you would be doing.
Sweet. I would have been an abolitionist.
That's right.
Yeah, probably. I think it's funny because like people have tried saying that about me.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank goodness.
people try claiming that me and a bunch of other, moderate or, freedom-minded individuals would be the ones, and I'm like, it's the exact opposite.
Right.
You're the ones that are screaming in a woman's face while raising your fist, demand she raise her fist with you.
Right.
There's no comparable movement,
Right.
like on the right for that.
No.
You've got the creepy weirdo, white supremacist types. But you know what I realized too?
Creepy.
You know why I think there's like the left describes a very obvious group and the right doesn't? Because the right, as we describe it, is more individualist.
Right.
So you have a bunch of disparate individuals and groups that don't unify on any ideas.
Right.
The left, they're collectivists.
Right.
So they all form a hive and then agree on all of these things.
Right.
Social justice, economic policy, for the most part. You got dirtbag left and you got woke left, but
Right.
And then I guess the alt-right is kind of a woke right or something. Even though their economic policy is left. I don't know, whatever.
Dude, the alt-right
Don't know nothing about the
today
alt-right.
is different than the alt-right a decade ago. The alt-right a decade ago was like neoconservative warmongers.
There wasn't an alt-right.
I mean, it was the neocons. They
No,
were
it wasn't.
The
The
new
alt-right didn't
right,
exist.
The new conservatives. It was like
Alt-right
the
specifically means
alternative to
white
the
nationalists.
Regular
Oh, it
conservatives.
didn't though. But let's
What?
not get into that. It
It
didn't.
didn't?
It didn't write it at first.
No, it did.
I mean,
This is a big mistake. A lot of people on the new right, as they call it, make. They assumed alt-right meant alternative to the right
Yes.
when it was actually coined by white nationalists in the first place.
very.
4chan.
Yes, that is accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the same assumption error early part of 2015.
Yep.
I was like, all right, oh, that sounds cool, but it's not. No, wait, delete.
Yeah, delete. Not cool at all.
Delete.
Yeah.
Not
That was
cool.
very
What is
punk
this?
of you.
Yeah.
What is this awful old ideology? Oh no, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
But the intersectional left is the same thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.